that's my question for you. Ask about questions. So I just want to know, this is my question. Why don't African Americans go into the lines and pay their taxes, fellow? Please answer that question. I'm complete. That's projection. Let me get the projection mirror out. The projection activation detection system has been activated. Number one, trash. Trash. fellow. Great question, too. I knew you were going to ask a question.
Oh, I read a book. Go ahead. The main way to eliminate the complexity is to eliminate income tax, period.
Hello, Liana. Are you ready, sweetheart?
Kind of. I'm just putting this girl on. But, yeah, sure.
Okay. It's raining cats and dogs out right now, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm going to go only indoor places, not outdoor places. Not that I could have this in there.
Yeah. Huh?
A guy has never called me. A Build-A-Bear.
You want to build a bear, baby? I just got you a toy bear and a
I
toy.
don't care. I want a Build-A-Bear.
I don't know where a Build-A-Bear is. We could look. Well, I can Google it real quick for you. You want me to?
Okay.
I want to fill you full of stuff in my love.
Ew, you just made this unromantic and cute.
All right, my love. Well, are you ready? Shall I order the Uber now?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, it's raining on it? Damn.
It's raining out.
Better, like, not wait out there.
Oh, no.
Porch.
I'll bring an umbrella.
Oh, man.
I'll bring an umbrella. I'll walk you in.
Don't, like, hold me.
You packed an overnight bag, right?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not doing that.
All right.
Okay, bye. Order it.
Wait, let me make sure I got. Let me see if your address pulls up.
Damn, it's raining over there.
Okay, actually, just text me your address one more time.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Could afford paying for something, or how they do it. I'll give an example in New Orleans, which I think is pretty clever. And this is just a small microcosm example that maybe can be extrapolated out into other concepts. Is they have a ferry system there that it doesn't pay for itself, right? The cost to run in the ferries across the Mississippi River from downtown New Orleans over to Algiers Point, it gets compensated by the raising of funds from the streetcars, which is only like $1, $1.25 to ride the streetcar. But that actually pays enough for the streetcar usage plus pays for the ferry. So that's how government, in my perfect world, would work. Is certain services could be offset by other services that do have a surplus. But we have these in our government ultimately, and that's why we have to have the different layers. And we should be requesting our government officials higher up to be policing the other government officials more, rather than making it this good old boy system. And I think that's the case for what ultimately drove Trump into office in his first term. Is a big middle finger to the establishment that feels like they're greater than us. And
That's what that fat pig who made that movie said. He's gonna be the biggest fuck you to the establishment of all time. But was he? Was he really?
he made a bet that he ultimately, a lot of them started then want to. And they have more influence than just voters, especially when you don't have to face another election. So I am always worried about like term limits on certain things. We do see presidents in their second term oftentimes do things that they wouldn't do if they had to be held accountable by the vote. So I think that's a case where we should not have term limits in the Senate and the House. As you would definitely see politicians burning out their last term before they get let limited that. I think you see that with governors as well. They push the limit, kind of like what Newsom's doing in California. If he moves forward with this 5% wealth tax, literally they're deciding to go and steal money from people that have already paid taxes on that money. That an accumulation of whatever their assets are. This billionaire tax that they're going to do. This isn't based on income. This is just based on my total accumulation of assets. If I'm a billionaire, then I have to hand over 5% of that to the state of California. I mean, this is just that. And if this is the spread of what the modern day Democrat Party is going to do, it will ultimately lead to significant pushback by the population, because they start with billionaires, then the next it'll be millionaires, and before you know it, it'll be the peasant class, and they'll be coming after our money and our wealth too.
I have a question, Joe. What if it shows, it's a big thing, and I know that Mount Downey's only been in office for 6-7 months. What if it shows the policies like that actually reduce crime, reduce sexual assault, reduce rape, reduce homicide? What would you say that?
Well, I was just gonna say, once they start rationing
Wallace, he asked me a question. Are you saying taxing billionaires reduces crime?
Yeah, like what if they really take that money, right, and put it into the communities, put it into the mental health of the communities? Trump already,
You think $20 billion is enough to eliminate evil in the human brain? Do you think so in society?
well, I would just combine a few things. Trump, he rolled back regulations on the building, right? So obviously,
Both of them.
new stuff like central planning for
But Joe said,
should have planning for
Joe, the way you're talking about central planning, that's like communistic central planning. The problem is our legal system and our legal industrial complex and the lawsuits that come from this type of oppressive taxation, let alone the appeals, it just creates another marketplace. I mean, everybody here who pays property taxes knows what the property tax appeal process is like and understands that in every city that is a multi-$100 million a year industry of appeal. So our taxation system has created a legal appeal industrial complex, and it's all this money is going to support pensions at the present moment. So when a pluralist progressive Democrat mayor says we're going to spend another 200 million on restorative justice programs and DEI and CRT education programs, what they're doing is stealing from pension liabilities and the contributions that are not being made to the unfunded pensions. They're just taking that. They're also issuing tax credits on behalf of the cities in the tunes of billions of dollars. I've looked up property, what they call TIFs, incremental tax zones. And what they do is they just suspend taxation on a new development for many years. And sometimes when the right political moves come along, you can continue to get that TIF extended. So the whole thing is a grift between developers and investors, and Democrat mayors to give tax credits. The tax credit industry is a huge industry in this country. I have a friend who is extremely wealthy because of it, because he is a CPA and he does all the auditing for people that play this political development game of investment. So we really have to get back to the basics of how do you run a small business. You run it at a simple profit. We have created a communistic state. In its truest sense, we've become the Soviet Union. We do not have separation of state and economy at all, and we're spending 7 trillion plus a year, or even more, and we're only taking in 5 trillion, and that 5 trillion, a lot of it is on the backs of your average income earner. If I make 80,000, if I make 100,000 a month, I'm really only taking home 1,000 a week. So we're getting taxed, we're getting smashed, and the property taxes are going to clean out the retirees. People have already seen property taxes go from 7,000 to 21,000 a year. I saw a black woman with her family. They bought a house for like 125,000. They didn't count on the property taxes being 10,000. They can't afford it, and then they're going to lose the house and then owe money on the debt and get sued and garnished. So we live in a very pernicious, circular, parasitic debt garnishment society. If you can't keep up with the bills, the lawyers will get you. It's the best investment in your lifetime is to become a lawyer, because you can take down doctors. You know, Edward here, he has had, or other people here has had stents put in their hearts. If you got stents in your heart, you can talk to a personal injury attorney right now and sue that fucking doctor who put those stents in your heart and get a couple $100,000 out of his fucking fat ass. And he built Medicare and Medicaid for $2.4 million last year. So the point is, the whole system's upside down. We glorify the doctors, we glorify the lawyers, and everybody just kicks up to them. I am complete.
So, I don't have anything regarding the last statement, but what ultimately happens is the shell game politicians run is they'll come in with these altruistic policies, like what's being sold in California and Mamdani, right now in New York City, and then as they go through the different policies, they still enrich the people that help them get there or empower the people that help them get there. That's often, I'm not talking about local governments all across America. They're probably much more corrupt than even Washington, D.C. Then when the policies fail, you see this. And if we're here, I don't know if that will last.
been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey Maya, it's John. Hope you're having a lovely afternoon. Sometimes my text messages don't go through for some reason because I'm on a Google Android. But anyways, call me back or text me, and look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.
Just Jesus Christ, man. Like 9, 10 conviction or 9, 10. When are you gonna learn that this guy needs to be locked up? I don't care where you put him. Jail, prison, or a mental institution. Get this guy off the streets.
Well, and the district attorneys have just as bad a record as the judges. The district attorneys are almost easier to get rid of. They can be voted out. The judges, they get impeached, and then you go through the political lawfare back and forth, how political it looks when you fire judges. But there's hundreds.
I just think the biggest problem is that we don't have capital execution for a lot of these villains and criminals and mass murderers and demon parasites that we have locked up that we're spending 120,000 plus a year on with either private or public, federal or private, run prisons. And until we actually start lining people up by the thousands, we're never going to balance our books. And we're going to have a financial and economic crisis in this country that is going to fuck the baby boomers. They think they're comfortably retired to a certain extent, but they are not because of the runaway spending and the runaway taxation. And if liberal, progressive Democrats, socialist communists get into office, they will call theft investment. That's what Brandon Johnson in Chicago does every day. We're investing. Bitch, you just stole fucking another $30 million from the pension funds. You fucking lying thief. And he can only get away with so much because the city council says no to him. Because our system really is fantastic. It's so huge, and because we have this voting system, we have all these checks and balances. So the dreams of the socialists, in many ways, will be smashed and destroyed by the power of the lawyer and the judge to say nope. You all see it with Donald Trump and in his administration. Federal judges nonstop, the Supreme Court nonstop. Now. And he does what he can do. And he is not a fascist, as Marshall Rankin likes to say. He's not a dumbass, as Marshall Rankin likes to say. Do you know how many years they've called Donald Trump mentally ill, deranged? Pritzker says he has dementia. And when I hear Trump, I heard him speak, and Patty and Politically Correct on this app, she plays Trump speaking to meet the press. He sounds like a fucking genius. He's not skipping a beat. The guy doesn't sound like Joe Biden, dementia, 90-year-old, know nothing. Trump is fucking savvy. This motherfucker's slick. And I thank God he's our president. If Kamala had won, I swear to God, I would have made preparations to leave the country. I would have abandoned this country. I would have gone to Norway, found my 6-foot Amazon beauty, and I would have settled down with a chick who's got $1 million in the motherfucking bank instead of hanging out with these liberal, progressive, fat, lesbian cat women of America who are so fucking petty, obnoxious, low IQ cell phone addicts. Fuck them all. Sugar babies. Puh, death to the sugar baby. So what I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, take action now. Invest in yourself. Go back to the gym before it's too late. Open up the Constitution, the Declaration. Read the writings of Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Live your best life. But stop spewing your stupid fucking political positions here. You're wasting your own fucking breath. So take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. Pray the gay away. Pray the liberal progressive away. Hold it for 10. Let it go and say, I am not a liberal, progressive, faggot retard. I am a strong, patriot, joyful American fighting for fighting for fighting for the republic. You see how that works, faggot retards? We live in a republic, And there's a reason why there will never be reparations, because we don't live in a communist, socialistic, democrat state. We live in a motherfucking republic. If you don't like that, well, then too bad you can't stop a republic. That's what a republic is. You can't stop it. You can't stand in the way of this juggernaut known as America. It will never stop. And the greatest thing about being an American is that when I meet other people, I know that they are from different countries. That's what being an American is. Oh, you're Serbian? Oh, you're Croatian? Oh, you're a Schwartz, a low IQ fucking Schwartz? Who calls Jewish people cattle goyim? Your stupid anti-Semitism is really just a lack of your own cultural awareness. That's where it stems from. It's all projection. That's what's wrong with Jew haters and anti-Semites. They just project. Hello?
Yeah, so look, Bello, I don't get this opportunity very much. I think part of why we talk on Clubhouse is to, a couple weeks later, a few weeks
Death
later,
to the sugar baby.
On things we talked about. It was 2 weeks ago in the President Trump room. Me and you discussed the rise of the DSA and the Democrat Party. This was prior to El Said winning his primary. Now you see, even in mainstream media, they're saying this is the crossroads of the DSA. If El Said is able, here he beat an establishment figure by just a few percentage points, and if he's able to go on and win in the Senate, this will be a huge boon for the DSA. Now, on this stage just 2 weeks ago, you shouted me down about this, saying the DSA was largely insignificant and wasn't making that much of a move. But clearly the Democrat Party, I saw the DNC. big.
So I asked you specifically about DSA's influence in the Democrat Party, and you did make the first response about what Bernie Sanders is going around saying right now. Now you're going into talking about the influence of Benjamin Netanyahu in AIPAC. You brought up AIPAC, and that they're at the center of the DSA. Are they?
They're at the center of what the DSA is against. And when we look at it, it's what Americans are against. I think, like I said, 49%
That's kind of
Americans want Netanyahu arrested. AIPAC is
Yeah, that's not what the DSA is standing
is
for.
losing American support, and AIPAC is directly not funding these Democrats.
No, hold on. Let's talk about the platform. Because that's kind of, I guess you're saying that arresting Benjamin Netanyahu is part of the platform. Because Mamdani has said he wants to arrest Netanyahu. So you're just kind of commenting about one aspect of the platform. So here, I want to address what you said about Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie Sanders is now coming out and saying no reasonable-minded person actually wants to get rid of the Senate or defund the police, right? Defund, that's his big talking point right now. But can we believe them? So, are they a trustworthy group of politicians or not? It does appear like they, like many politicians, are more radical in their primary, and then they start to venture back towards the center when they go towards the general election to dupe the voters into saying, very much like Abigail Spanberger did in Virginia. She said she was the spotter, and then she gets right in and she pulls the rug out from underneath Virginians, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a radical. So here you have like Al Said, he has very radical comments early on in his political commentary or in his political career. And then all of a sudden, now he's like, well, I'm no longer a DSA card carrying member. But when do we believe them? When they get power and they get into office, are they just going to go back to their radical ways? When they have enough influence, when they have enough DSA members in Congress, will they then be able to try and abandon the concept of the Senate? I don't think they'll essentially get rid of it. What they'll do is they'll make it a proportional based upon very much how the House is done. Will they then defund the police or defund the military when they have enough power and enough voting members to actually do it? It's kind of like they're hiding their true intentions until they have, taken over the Democrat Party and taken over our government, right? That'd be more realistic. Because these are probably their real beliefs with their platform.
Weren't these politics made illegal in the mid-50s? These type of politics were made illegal, and maybe it was appealed, and now it's not illegal anymore. Joe, what's the history on that? These politics.
There's a law about the Communist Party. I don't know about the specifics of policies in regards to it, but there is a 1954 law, I believe, regarding communism. Yeah, I mean, it is communist.
It comes to tactics, though. I don't want to describe because it is communist.
Well, look it up and read it to us. Tell us, get Grok to summarize the 1954 communist law. I'm driving right now. I'm about to have to get out of the room here in a minute.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, sorry, man. And Clubhouse has this new thing where you can't even check. You can't even do your due diligence and fact check a website where you'll get thrown out of the room.
Yeah, you need 2 devices.
We can still do it in Android, so it must be Apple thing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even hear the question because I got thrown out of the room while I was looking up Donnie's cut to the police force. It's like a $22 million cut to the police force where he implemented targeted cuts in preliminary spending plans. He scrapped plans for phased hiring of 5,000 new recruits to the police force. And he rolled back the anticipated increase in uniform headcount during budget negotiations with the city council. At the same time, like I said, I got to go back to the historic low in homicides.
The historic low in homicides is propaganda and a lie. A straight up propaganda and a lie, and you keep referring to propaganda and lies. We all know that's not true, my friend. It's a fucking lie that Democrat mayors have put out nationally. Crime is not down. Homelessness, mental illness is huge. There's huge crime numbers over the past 6 years. So stop with your fucking propaganda and your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You're a low IQ piece of trash spreading lies. Stop with your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You hear me loud and clear. It's spelled LIAR. You're a fucking liar citing lies. Stop spreading your fucking lies, you fucking liar. I am complete.
Does anybody else have children around?
You're wasting your time educating your children with lies on a conference call, you fucking loser piece of trash liar.
We're talking about the DSA, the popularity you brought of Israel, and I think the real scary part that I'm seeing with the DSA movement is essentially it's not just communism. I think it's the focus on central planning, which both appeals to the communists and the Islamists, and simultaneously it maybe I'm not sure about your views, but maybe you do lean more towards like central planning to solve problems, but you inadvertently, maybe members of the DSA now, I'm against central planning, but they're also embracing, knowingly or unknowingly, the central planning of Islamists, which isn't communism, right? The whole separate system. But you both agree with certain tactics, measures of control, and I think you've even embraced maybe unwittingly, this anti-Netanyahu, anti-Israel talking points. They're fighting against their communism, which is Islamism, right? And the Islamists stand, I would imagine, for everything that you're against. But yet, you would probably vote for Mamdani or El Said. And these people, they believe gnarly, dangerous stuff that makes Zionism look like, libertarianism at the end of the day. Really. So I think you need to be careful and really examine who it is you support and what you think they're really trying to achieve.
No, I hear you, brother. And we're having this conversation. Know that anything that I've said is facts as far as like you can even go to Fox News and they're already reporting how Americans trust in APAC is down like 19% in certain studies, 20%. So I'm more so talking about the state of America instead of like what I believe. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually a supporter of getting the illegals out of here, so we can get our jobs back. And we can get our cities safer. I'm actually reporting to the state of America. When you look at the data, as far as like trust in APAC, and 49% of Americans want Netanyahu arrested. That's data.
I agree. Yeah. With you that's data to reflect. But what state does that tell you that the same people that doesn't trust in APAC and want Netanyahu arrested are championing and putting on their shoulders clear Islamists? It's wacky, and I don't think we should trust necessarily. Yeah, we acknowledge public opinion, but that doesn't make it rational or right. And I think we need voices, even if they're espousing views that we might believe in. We still need loud voices to stand against other ideas that they have. Just like with Trump, it's like you cannot like some things about Trump, but you can also love other things about Trump. We got to be the same and call Mamdani and these Islamists out. If you are, let's say, a democratic socialist, you can't at the same time champion Islam. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So public opinion is important to just want louder voices speaking out against values that are antithetical to the West.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking about it in a sense to where like the state of things. I think what you saw in Gaza, what you see with the Iranian war, right? And then when you have J.D. Vance, who goes a month ago goes on Joe Rogan's show and says that Israel is conducting propaganda campaigns to extend the war, and thus undercut it by throwing him out under the bus and where he's trying to do his job, right? So that he can actually work out the peace talks, and he can't. And he says that Israel is doing propaganda campaigns on American people. That's our vice president. That's a Republican. You know, that's a conservative. That's a right winger. And so, like Fox said,
Prove him wrong. Prove
well,
me wrong.
hey, he said it. I'm not here to prove him wrong or anything.
Yeah, he's wrong.
I'm more so talking about the fact that he said it, right? And that does not do good for the trust of Americans. And just like Fox News says, when they went through the polls about America trusting Israel, right? This is not just a left-right issue with Democrat, but this is a national issue where it's affecting Republicans and Democrats. And what I'm saying is that it's influencing the rise of the Democratic Socialist movement to now where the public doesn't trust AIPAC, right? And we just saw how that lady ran against El Said, right? And lost with a $16 million surplus and $60 million boost. You know, you can see the way things are going. And so that's why I brought up that, yeah, Israel and things like that. It's just like it's all happening at the same time. And so when J.D. Vance goes on there and says that does nothing to that's you know that scares the popular. Like what? You know for sure our vice president says that Israel is running propaganda campaigns to keep this Iranian war going. Wow, like we need to look deeper into that. So that does nothing for pro-Israeli candidates in the
Yeah,
future.
that's true. That's true. But you know that that's a game of diplomacy. Like Saudi at the one hand deals with Israel, but yet publicly they have to talk negatively about Israel as to other, Islamist type countries that are moving to the center. It's all a game at the end of the day. So yeah, Vance, I love Vance. I mean, yeah, you can focus on one comment he made, but then you also have to take that into context with all the other comments he's made as well. But I think it is a dangerous momentum happening in our country of people embracing communism, embracing Islamism, because they're embracing communism or so-called communism. And at the end of the day, I think, let's say J.D. Vance was correct in what he said, Israel is pushing the war. Well, maybe that's because they know that you can't have peace with Islamists. If you do have a peace, it's a short peace, which will come back to bite you even worse than any war we would have today. And Israel, I think, with their history shows by example that you can't appease or have peace with Islamists, because when they withdrew out of Gaza and all the Jews left and everything, I mean, it doesn't end the war, it doesn't end the so-called freedom fight against the state of Israel. So I think there's lessons to be learned, and a lot of lessons are hard lessons at the end of the day. The West needs to grow its backbone again and realize that sometimes war and violence is necessary, and sometimes complete victory is necessary, and typically you only achieve complete victory with absolute devastation and unfortunately a lot of death of the loser's side to achieve such victory. But we don't have that backbone. We will to kill 1 million people, with one bomb. Like they just celebrated or remembered the dropping of Hiroshima and Nagasaki just recently. I think it was just this past month. sometimes those unfortunate.
You know, gee, you say we don't have the will, but we had the will to mass vaccinate 80% of our population with an experimental mRNA gene modifying spike protein creator. We had the will to do that, didn't we? To do a mass carcinogenic event on ourselves and on the whole Western world, to depopulate ourselves, to sterilize ourselves. And Rand Paul can't even arrest Fauci in a fucking sanatorium. If Rand Paul was a man, he would have the sergeant at arms and private security and make a citizen's arrest of Dr. Fauci and march that little fucking Italian Goomba faggot straight to Todd Blanche's office where he can put that little Goomba faggot vaccinator in prison. Until we get real justice in this country, all is lost. It will be tyranny and treason and terror until we arrest Dr. Fauci. He is a fucking mendacious, evil, maniacal, manipulative, fucking lying rat. Him and Bill Gates need to be publicly executed. I am complete.
I can't believe we've given that this room or any other room on Clubhouse or on the internet is about him. We need to move past him. He's a problem. He was a problem. We need to look at our own issues and maintain peace with Rubio. Yeah, I said it. And Vance as a joint ticket, and I keep saying that, and no one gets it.
Wait, what was it? It was Vance and who on the joint ticket?
Rubio.
Oh, I like him. I like him a lot.
It's coming to a town near you soon. Pay attention.
But I feel like there aren't many vaginas on that team.
We do not care. We want to win as a country. We don't care. We don't care. I know you are. We don't care if it's a male or a female. And honestly, I don't think America is ready for a female leader.
Actually, it's funny that we're talking about this. This was my next subject in the new room I'm starting. So I might as well just, because this is Beaver's room, I'm like, keep it consistent. I'll take over and do a new room under me. So I'm going to knock this out and then I'm going to reopen it and we're going to talk about it.
Wait, Matt, cool. I just want to say one thing. When Joe B says that we want to win as a nation, that's true. We do want to win as a nation. But guess what wins at the national level? Intelligence. And unfortunately, the Kamala Harrisites of this country are not the intelligent group that we need leading this nation. We need real men with real strength, real values, real ethic, real morality. And that starts at our currency. If we accuse China of being currency manipulators, and it's all relative, well, fine. But we have to be self-reflecting and go within to find the truth. The truth of the earth begins at your birth, and it does end at your death. But if you waste all your time here on Clown House, you will have nothing left. And that's the problem with Othello. That's why he's struggling to pay his bills. He's got kids in the other room. And when I call him a faggot, retard, liar, spreading misinformation about crime statistics being at 60-year lows, he's a fucking politician. He's doing little mini baby politics, and that's all it is. It's just a tree falling in a wood. There's no truth. It's just lies. Hello?
I don't know a single woman leader in my lifetime or today's economy that wants to be second. We do not care. We want to win. Who's playing with their helicopters?
He's going on.
So thank you all for coming to the President Trump house and engaging in this thought-provoking debate with faggot retards who don't understand economics, can't explain inflation, don't want law enforcement, want us to spend billions of dollars, take it from the rich, spend it on the mentally ill who keep slugging women in the streets. That's the type of faggot retard you're dealing with. Recidivism. Violent criminal offenders attacking white women in the street, screaming Trump, and you got Othello here, Hey, just another Othello telling you, don't you think if we took from Elon Musk, because he's building the biggest building in the world, if we took at least 2 billion more from him in taxes this year, we could use that money if we really used it, if it really went to the people who need the restorative justice, if it really went to them. See, Othello doesn't understand that the middleman captures all the money. That's why the homeless crisis in California has only exacerbated, because the middleman faggot retard, just like your insurance broker, has captured us. We let the middleman take what he's not even entitled to. It's against the law. And they break it every day. That's why we need real lawmen, real patriot Americans, strong, liberal Americans. And when I say liberal, I mean libertarian, not progressive Democrat, communist, socialist thieves who misaccurately use words to describe theft. It's investment. Motherfucker, it's not investment. It's fucking theft.
New York do not run our country. Us idiots are sitting on the sideline acting as if they do. We need to say screw them or embrace them or whatever the case may be and proceed on. And we have to agree on what proceeding forward needs to look like in order to win.
And John, just know that when I fight for mental health, I'm fighting for people like you.
Let me get that projection mirror out for you, faggot retard. And when Joe B says that we want to win, strength will always win. Joy will always win. Happiness is really the goal. And so faggot retards like you who think you're fighting for mentally ill people like me, what you're really trying to do is fight for your own life. But you're not, Othello, because you're a faggot retard. And here you are spreading lies because you're a piece of garbage. So next time you project onto me, just remember, whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you. That's what's up. Starting new room shortly in the President Trump house. Yeah, you gonna keep calling me the N-word, Himothy? Green bean N-word up in here. Green bean N-word.
That identifies winning and agree on what that looks like. I don't think 5 people in this room agree on anything.
I think we can agree that nigga Book needs help. Respectfully.
Yo, respectfully, nigga. If you're gonna say nigga, I'll say nigga. So nigga, it's all projection, nigga.
People, come on now.
It's all projection,
so stupid.
nigga.
I can't even stay here.
Alright, I'm closing. I'm reopening under me. Seeing as you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, see that.
It's all projection, nigga.
Yes, but the question, the reaction or response I have is not necessarily that should that person have, but is there out there as you say, a process, a program, a strategy for doing that?
Of course not. Of course there isn't.
And I'll in my ignorance, I would say, especially when they're abolished in prison, or what's that other one about the thing about the police? I think
Hers, my little circle, people, who have done studies and come up with approaches. And you say, of course not. Maybe I was in something, ooey stuff, but I believe that there are, whether they are academics, whether they're activists, who have thought about it and provided, and when it came up, they presented that. Now, did it come to fruition? No. But you say no, nobody's doing that. Nobody's coming up with that process.
So who has come up with the proposition about laws
No, he didn't. He didn't say that, Pearl. To be fair. I mean, it was brought up as an example, and I expanded on it as an example to ask these questions. If you want to abolish prisons, then what? And the question you should ask before you even think or consider that whole idea, so you can come up with some kind of plan or some kind of theory as to how to do it. That's what, that's how that was my end.
Well, First Lady, the honest.
Oh God, not today. Not today. We're not doing it. We're not doing it today. We're not.
They just came up with. They ain't got no plan. There's no plan. That's why you don't know it. They might do it right.
Okay, but now why you gotta get all 5,000? No, I'm just saying, like, that's 1,000 from me, so it can't be for real. So, yeah, it's fine. What I want to do is I want to continue hearing your thought, because you were actually in the middle of the thought. I do want to hear from you, and then we'll get a new voice in, Schroeder. Just 1 second, hold still. Go ahead, I'll start.
Thank you.
So you said you would get rid of the police because they're not doing anything. So when you call 911, the people we're releasing from prison, are they the ones that's supposed to come and answer? And I never said I'm just saying. But no.
Just inventing cops first principles.
Exactly. Hello? But no.
That's exactly what it is.
Wait, one second, Carly, because I wasn't finished my thought. 1 second, I was making a joke, but my thought really goes to what I heard the young lady speaking about. And she was more focused on saying prison abolition. Now, what you suggested is reform. She was asked about reform when it came down to immigration. She said, no, we need to get rid of the border. I'm like, what are you doing? It's too much.
That's correct. They don't say what they say the crazy thing. And then when people say, oh, do you mean this crazy thing? When you say the crazy thing, they say, no, I don't mean the crazy thing. So why say the crazy thing if you don't mean the crazy thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
right? If you don't mean no borders, then don't say no borders. it's totally reasonable for people to think that you mean. If you say no borders, if it's reasonable for people to think you mean no borders. So personally, that's where we're gonna stop.
This has been the same question.
You know, I thought we were just giving these examples of what people will say this thing, but they haven't expounded on. They haven't expanded upon the thing that they said. So we're just using these as an example. We do not need to have long dissertations about prison abolition because I don't think anybody on the stage wanted to go that far. I could be wrong, but
No, Victor, I think that's really interesting point because, like, I think that in abolition, part of the problem is they don't understand what real abolition means because we say very little abolish, not just abolition. So that creates like a lot of we did not abolish it. So I think that creates a confusion when people think about what is prison abolition and what it actually looks like, and they don't interrogate each word.
right. And if you don't interrogate it, then you're not going to ask better questions because you're not.
I'm going to ask the president cross-examination question for sure. Oh my. Portion of my bio, 50 years as a captain, as a prison chaplain, them mastermind criminals, them kind of people. I had rejects all my life. And they have kind of reformed it. What they did in D.C., they allowed a felony to get a decent job at some point on the system. So a guy could come in D.C. corrections and get a job. See, by doing this, he finished a GED program. And that's it. And they complete the GED program, they could move on. Then he prepared himself for college program and could actually get a BA behind the walls of the penitentiary. Now, what they would do, many of them would get a vocational trades in between. And then in 2, 3, 5 years, this prisoner owned a business. Young boys in the hood with no high school diploma owned electric business. They took an electric trade, all kind of plumbing, and how to lay a brick. See, advertising, you can lay a brick. Or you can get barber and get cosmetology, trainee license, trainer license. You had trades, and the Congress looked at Congress from all over the country, looked at our young men, all polished and ready. See, but you look at me a degree in this, I'm going over here, I'm going over here. Every mouth, late 60s, 70s, and mid-80s, every mouth had, I'm getting ready to go build something, I'm getting ready to go get this. I'm getting married, having kids, I'm already an electrician. We had something in our mouths. I'm getting ready to go get a 4-year degree out of Texas Southern University somewhere, North Carolina State, American AMU, all them black guys going on. They did.
I wouldn't. If you were walking across the road and give yourself and might. Give me the sign of the open night, a riddle of shadows where whispers lie, the thorny thigh, the maddening cry. I am awake, the serpent shakes. I am a man. Shadows days where the mind is tight. Truth hides deep where the echoes collide. The air is heavy, the water's unclear. No compass, no guide, just a sea of fear. Chains of thought, they hold us down. In the murk we spin around. What's the gain? What's the cost? In all this judgment, we're just lost. Oh, lines are drawn in the sand so thin. We chase the end, they fall back in. The way we carry it bends the spine. But who's to say what's yours?